everybody. Welcome back to the God Center Recovery Podcast. I'm excited to be back at you again. So I got a special guest. We connected on Facebook, and his name is Arfan Hussein. Welcome.
Hey, Tim. Thank you for having me here today.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. I appreciate you for taking your time.
Absolutely no problem.
Hey, so I like to start this out as like what's going on in your life as far as your business, your marriage, and just start this out on a real positive note. Like, where are you at, brother?
Yeah, so right now I'm actually entering my 10th year in marriage. So we're married, going 10 years now. We have 3 kids. So
Uh-huh.
things are going, they're going amazing. My wife and I really started into diving into online business, and that was about 3 years ago. And
Uh-huh.
last year I was able to retire from my corporate job. So it's been an amazing
Oh,
past year to be able to spend
nice.
more time spend more time with my children, my wife, and just kind of
Yeah.
not have that stress of dealing with the corporate world. I love my job, but I love this a lot more.
Yeah, that's amazing. We might be two peas in a pod because about 2 years ago, I left the nonprofit world. I was
Uh-huh.
a counselor for youth, and I had 12 employees and 12 boys that I managed in a treatment center environment. But for the last couple of years, I've been doing this and just expanding and growing together with my wife. And so we both work from home, and so I'm at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey here. But I'm glad that I took this path, even though it's scary.
Oh yeah, it's very scary making
Right.
that jump, right? We probably heard that
Right.
that Steve Harvey talk about making a jump, and it was scary, but one thing is God's faithful, and when He
Yeah.
calls us for something, He just makes it like He gives us the wings. It just kind of starts happening, and everything starts aligning. So it's definitely an amazing journey to be on.
Right. Well, one thing like pros and cons for me is like, so you can work harder and kind of dictate your own salary and create like exponential income
Hmm.
on one hand, and then on the other hand, when things go down and things get tough, um, that's when it gets scary. And so
Right. Yeah.
this whole process for us has been a real stretch of faith and a trusting scenario. I jumped on Indeed.com twice during my entrepreneurial journey looking for jobs. You know what I mean? And
Oh
so
yeah,
it's just like,
I get notifications every day.
so I mean the faith and the stretching, that's so real, brother. It's so
Hmm.
real. Um
Absolutely. I could attest. I mean, my prayer life probably increased tenfold since becoming a full time entrepreneur.
I think our walk with God in the entrepreneur journey, it's not for the weak of heart. Um, yeah.
It's not, absolutely not.
So what it is that you do in business?
So my wife and I are both online coaches. We do business coaching together, with marketing, and I also do Facebook ads management.
Oh,
So in
that's
combination
awesome.
together, yeah, both of us, what we do is we help entrepreneurs really basically implement and create a strong brand and marketing strategy, so they can increase their clients, increase their income, and
Yeah,
just be able to, again, live life on their terms.
man, that's awesome. I know me personally, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Our biggest problem is generating leads.
Hmm.
Um, and it's been one of my biggest problems. Once I capture the lead and they're into my systems, the systems are good, the product is good, service is good. But it's catching those leads. And so Facebook, most people feel this pain, entrepreneurs, Facebook ads, and they just sigh and go, because we don't know what we're doing, right? And we
Yeah.
tried and failed.
Yeah, it's not like
Hard
there's
stuff.
an operating manual. Like if you get a new blender, it's pretty cut and dry. You plug it in, push power, and boom, you got a smoothie.
Yeah.
Facebook ads like, hey, I'm throwing money out there, and I don't really know what I'm doing. How's this really gonna? And prior in our previous business, probably about 5 years ago is when I started working in Facebook ads. Just taking some courses, talking to people, just asking questions. Anytime I'm in trouble, I'm like, or I have a question, I'm asking somebody. I'm like, hey, how do we do this? Researching, and that 5 year journey leading up to now, I'm able to navigate that beast of a system and
Yeah.
really to basically help to, like, create these campaigns that actually bring in like really awesome results to help, again, bring in leads, sales, and just actually live up to his purpose without wasting money in paid ads, not knowing what we're doing.
Right. I feel the pain. So we're definitely going to stay in contact there.
Like, absolutely.
My biggest thing, and I have it on my whiteboard because I have the couple areas of my life that I'm not really happy with, and one is my fitness. I dialed in my nutrition and my eating habits like are on point, and then you know the cardio and the not working out. So that was one of them. But then the other one is lead gen. These are two very frustrating things in my life. So, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of people out there like that. So where can
Yeah.
people contact you if they're feeling those same pains that I am?
Yeah, you can email me directly at arfanhussein.com, or visit my website. As a matter of fact, that I have a bit.ly link where they can just be able to reach out to me, and it's bit.ly, so bit.ly slash create effective ads. And that's just the way to just basically get in contact with me. You can just
Awesome.
message me directly on Facebook as well.
Awesome, brother. So, hey, I want to jump in. I wanted to give this overall picture of your life and what's going on. You're a successful entrepreneur. You're in partnership with your wife. You have this vision, and you're building these great things. But it wasn't always the case, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, I
Right.
didn't,
So
definitely did not start that way.
take us back there, brother.
Yeah. So this, a lot happened in my early childhood. My dad was murdered when I was 2 years old. And as much as I'm kind of extroverted, so I was like one of those happy kids that kind of just brushed it off. It didn't really take an impact on me as far as everything that we went through, as far as like that situation, that trauma happening. And then from there, moving from our country, I was born and raised in Guyana, South America, and we moved entire family with nothing, no money, no nothing, to New York. And from there, I barely saw my mom, so I was really raised by my sister and things like that. And then, you know, I always like sought after things like entertainment, things to like block off, what's really happening. So playing a lot
Yeah.
of video games. And what really took a turn was when I was a teenager. Yeah, I started having friends. We hung out, and then started getting introduced to drugs. So I started drinking at 14. That was one, which was kind of like that gateway into it.
Right.
And then close to 16, 17, I started smoking smoking marijuana. I mean, we call it weed. I don't know, slang term. Yeah, it's how it goes. And that was just kind of from there. Just started going down. It was a lot of smoking, drinking, and it started progressive. They always say that marijuana is a gateway drug, and I see why they say that. At the time, it was cool. We were just hanging out, we're just chilling, having a good time. But I started leading into, okay, well, if you smoke this joint and then you also take this pill, it's gonna make you feel better. And
Yeah.
it started this downward spiral into like, more drinking, more smoking, taking pills, doing cocaine, and just living this horrible life of just constantly seeking the next high, seeking the next high.
Right.
Um, and I remember there were times where I'd wake up the next day and I'd try to see, okay, what happened the previous day, because
Yeah.
it was a total blank. Like, where's my wallet? Where's my phone? Who did I text? Who did I call? Did I screw something up? Like, what really happened? Um, and it was that started happening from the age that was from like 16, 17, all the way up into my early 20s.
Yeah.
And there was one time I woke up and literally had a scar on my face, and my entire arm right here was bloody, and I couldn't find my car, and it was like, well, what's really happening right now?
Wow.
And that's where I kind of started waking up.
Yeah.
But
Do you think so I remember, I experienced a lot of childhood trauma and I was taken away from my parents at 10.
mhm,
And of course things didn't go well into my teenage years because I didn't know how to cope. Like I didn't have the skills, I didn't have knowledge, I didn't have the mentors. Um, so I went downhill fast. Um, is that kind of the similar case of not really having a male mentor, not really um knowing how to cope or to deal with this, this trauma that you're experiencing, and it's just kind of trying to cover it the best that you can. Is that kind of
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that, because really what it comes down to is a lot of times, if I was to look back and if I did have, let's say, a role model or a mentor, someone that could really hold my hand and say, no, no, son, you shouldn't be doing these things. Like drinking is not, not the way. And again, my father was killed, and was partly because he was an alcoholic. So I still
right?
had those things like in the back
Wow,
of my mind, like, well, am I destined to become that too as well? Just
right,
those thoughts. But yeah, there wasn't really any kind of figure that really took me under their wing until, later on. I'll obviously get to that point when things turned around. But um, I didn't have that until about when I was about 19. And, it just kind of happened where I joined an MLM because this guy just kept coming to me, and I was like, you know what, I'll listen to what you have to say. And that was kind of the gateway into like mentorship, because I didn't really know what mentorship
yeah,
was. And
right.
that they had their entire sales process. And
There's a
um,
mentorship, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I'm not part of that anymore, but at that time, that was there for a reason and a season. And
right,
it really led me to understand what mentorship was. I was now surrounded by all these guys that were, they had stories of where they overcame things. And they were now, obviously, seeking entrepreneurship, seeking to better their lives, and not have to, continually working a job or things like that. But if I had that when I was a early teen or even growing up, I'm pretty confident that, when it comes time to like make those decisions, like, am I gonna go hang out with people who are gonna basically try to mess themselves up till they black out?
right,
Just to kind of, we were all going through stuff. My friends, I was able to relate with them because they all had issues. They didn't really have parent figures around them. They were kind of doing life on their own.
yeah,
They had family that would help them out, but it wasn't like, there's a difference when you have a mom and you have a father that can really, hold you close and really help to guide you
right,
in that creative,
yeah,
well, not creative, but that wonderful way.
yeah. My father was in prison most of my life, and during my teenage years, I lived with him for like a year, and then he went to prison. I really didn't have anything else to do but just run away. Like,
Hmm.
me and his wife didn't get along and stuff. But about 16, 17 years old, I found a male mentor. He was actually an ex-cop, which, we grew up to kind of hate cops, but surprisingly, God sends you somebody in the form of what you hate. But
Yeah.
he took me into his home for 3 years and taught me what it was to be a man, and to raise a family and to have nice things, and just an overall holistic lifestyle that I was just like, there's something different. And that just catapulted me into, a different life. But a lot of people just, they don't discover that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and some of them get, later. And I always believe that there's a timing and a reason for different things. um because if someone was to come to me when I was probably 14, 15, I
Mm,
may not have been receptive to it, or I
yeah,
brushed it off. So when
right.
I was able to get that mentor at 19 years old, and that ultimately led me, because again, I wasn't a born Christian. I'm born again Christian, but I wasn't a
Uh-huh.
born Christian.
Right.
And through that process, through those mentorship, I was actually able to, I was at a conference, and everyone at the conference, they were like, hey, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is wonderful, but the real stuff happens on Sunday. They were just hyping up Sunday so much. And
Uh-huh.
at this time, prior to this, I never stepped foot in the church. I don't know what anything was.
What kind of
Walking
conference was
Sunday,
it?
it was a business conference. It was part of
Okay.
the MLM, and it was just,
Oh, nice.
all, yeah. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday was training, and then Sunday was kind of like the wrap up of everything. But at the beginning of it, it was in there. They were playing some, now I know better, so it was, obviously, Christian music that was playing, and the main speaker was basically giving his story. And I just kept feeling that tug, and then he called people down to receive Christ in their life. And I was, at this point, I was in tears. I was like, man, he's speaking to me, he's speaking to my
Right.
entire life, what's going on right now. And it was like everything, all the bricks that was put up just kept falling down, and everything was being shown. And I stepped down and I gave my life. And, um, you know, unfortunately, addiction didn't end there.
Right. Yeah. So
I
a
still
lot of
went
times
back
it's a
home.
process, right?